Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We're going to start talking about your Fiverr gig. So first of all, I want to acknowledge the sun for giving me the special lighting effects that, I would pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to a special effects studio here in Hollywood to give this effect. So, clearly it's a blessed day for all of us. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk you through the process of setting up your gig. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to create a gig within my already set up profile. And of course, we're going to talk about the profile too. So I'm going to walk you through my profile and my gig, and then we're going to create one from scratch. And then hopefully you can follow along and go through, or at least watch what I do and then duplicate it later. So let's see how long this takes. I really don't know. All right, so here we are on Fiverr. Now, I'm assuming that you've already got a Fiverr account. If you don't, I'm not going to go through the whole process here of creating an account. When you click on Join, the fastest way is just to click Facebook Connect. You all have Facebook accounts. Just click that. Boom, it knows who you are. Otherwise, just go through the process of creating yourself an account. It's the same account whether you're a buyer or a seller, so one account is fine. The only difference is if you've ever been a buyer and you already have an account, now you're going to start selling. You're going to be clicking this Start Selling button here. So once you've got a profile and you're ready to go, that's what we'll do. But let me go ahead and sign in. And I'm using Facebook Connect to do it. And here we are. So now I'm on the main page, and let's look at my gig. I'm going to walk through it again just real quick, but I'm not going to do it from the buyer's perspective. I'm going to show you back here in the gig setup. So I'm just going to go to my gigs, and I'm going to choose next to the smooth male voice, which is my main one. I'm going to choose edit so you can see what I've done. So we'll just walk through this briefly here, and then we'll go through it again kind of in more detail as I actually create a gig in front of your face. So basically the gig title, obviously you want it to be descriptive as to what it is that you're offering, and you want it to be as concise as possible. And mine is just very straightforward. I'll read your script with a smooth male voiceover. Now remember, we're going to actually go through and fill in the blanks here in a second, so I won't sit too long on each of these right now. You'll choose your category for voiceover. It is under the music and audio category, and then you select a subcategory, and you would choose voiceovers. Now again, what you're learning here is how to set up a gig in Fiverr. So as you go through Fiverr and start getting into this, this world a little bit, and say, hey, I've got some other stuff I would like to be able to do on Fiverr, the same process holds. Okay, so now the description. Okay, so it's so important. The description is so important because you are really trying to cover yourself. And I'm going to go over the detail of the description as I set up the new one. But basically speaking, you are trying to create a description that protects you from having somebody order something that you are unable or unwilling to do for that $5. So you want to be super, super clear. And the things that I've got in mine are the result of doing this for a few years and knowing what I come up against and trying to make my life easier. I've held this one for quite a while, and it's been fairly effective. I can probably make it better, but this would be, having these elements in here is not certainly required for you, but I think you'll understand the logic as we go through it. Just briefly, I'll go through here. So I tell them to read this carefully. That's the first thing I do, is because, then that basically puts the accountability on them to some extent. I will read 50 words of a voiceover script that you provide in my smooth announcer North American male voice. So I'm clear on how many words I will do for $5. They provide the script because I do not provide scripts, okay? And so they have no expectation that I will, because I clearly say you provide the script in a smooth announcer North American male voice. So there, of course, you would write however you would describe your voice in a nutshell, okay? So here's where these can be unique to you, but I think you'll get the concept of why they're unique to me and what the importance is. English VO only. So I stress that because I am not going to take the time to learn all of these non-English names. So I've done it. I have done it, and it is always time consuming. And sometimes I can listen to a tape. They'll send me a recording, and I'll listen to it and go, my mouth is not doing that anytime this month, So I just say, no, I'm sorry, I can't. And I've said on the front page, English VO. So they can't be surprised. They can't get angry or they can't scream whatever they might scream because you're not going to read their non-English name. I say up front, and it's for the benefit of them so that they can get it turned around faster and it's done correctly and all of that. So anyway, English VO only. And I even say here on my gig here, but I've changed it. I've actually done some editing to my own gig description, preparing for this. I say I'm explaining why English VO only. I'm actually going to take that out. I think I don't need it, and I could use the word count for other things because you only have a certain amount of words for your description. So then I say script must be proofread and edited before sending. So you're putting all accountability on them in terms of proofreading and making sure that they understand that you're going to read what you gave them or what they gave you. It says, I will read exactly as written, even if it doesn't make sense. I mean, I can't be more clear than that. Now, look, I always still, and I would suggest to you as well, if you find a script that it's filled with errors, I won't just read it. I will write back and say, there are too many English grammar errors in here for me to be able to read this. You really need to get this proofread and send it back. And if you can't do it, today, we need to cancel, and then you can reorder when you can. Because if they just say, well, give me some time and I'll get it proofread, well, the clock is running on your order. And now a 3-day order could turn into a 1-day order or a 4-hour order, and you say no to that. You say, if I can't have it in a couple of hours or whatever is realistic for you, to make sure that you can get the job done, you say, let's just cancel until it's proofread. But you have said up front that it has to be proofread. So again, they can't be squawking at you. They broke the rule. Okay. Next, spell out all abbreviations as you want them read, because you get initials and stuff like this and abbreviated words constantly, and people take it for granted that you're going to read it like them. Sometimes they're inside of a corporate culture where they use these words all the time and just forget that the rest of the world doesn't, or whatever. So any kind of acronyms, initials, anything like that. And we get into that again in the gig requirements. Once they've already ordered, you reiterate that right there. But obviously you're trying to get this done and trying to handle this most up front before they order. I say send a PDF or a text or a doc file only. Now, if you have a Macintosh and you can read pages formats, say that. Say whatever it is that you can easily read. But I'm trying to avoid getting pages because I have to go through a whole conversion process online somewhere to be able to open them. And the other thing I'm avoiding is PowerPoint slides, because people will send you their presentation and it's filled with slides and graphics and stuff like this. You're trying to get a word count, or you just say, no, I need it. I need just what you want me to read. I don't need any of the graphics. I don't need any of the images. I don't need any of that, because you can't wade through all that, and you shouldn't have to. It's very realistic for you to ask for a script. You're a voiceover job. So I say no PowerPoints. There may be rare exceptions, like if there's a video involved and they just want to show me how things line up for whatever reason, fine, they can send a PowerPoint, but I'm not reading my script from it. Okay? So I say that. Re-records, which I've now calling revisions over here because that's way more, a way better word to say. Re-records due to an error in the script itself will require the purchase of another gig, which means that if they send you a script that they say is final, you read it and record it, edit it, the whole thing, deliver it, and then they say, we've changed it, they pay for that. It's only fair. But if you make a mistake, if you read a word wrong or your read's way off, they want you to adjust the energy or whatever, then, absolutely you do that. That's included. Now, whether it's unlimited, that's up to you. I'm not an unlimited person. If it gets to be 2 or 3 revisions, I say, I'm clearly not the voice for you. Let's agree to cancel. We won't waste any more of each other's time. I don't put it quite exactly that way, but the idea is that you're letting them go find the voice that is going to work. If I can't get it in 2 or 3 tries, I'm not the voice they're looking for. Okay. And I say that very clearly, and I own that, and I speak from my experience, and absolutely insist on letting them go. Let's see. Okay, so make sure that what you have in your script is absolutely word for word what you want read. So again, I just really try and reiterate that just to cover myself. So language similar to that would be good. Need more than 50 words? Order extra gigs for every first 50 words you have in your script. 50 words is my rate. You could be whatever it is. Just change the number for yourself. Or send me the word count and I will send a custom quote, which is way, way easier. And I'm doing more and more of those. People just send me a message and say, hey, it's 151 words. What is it? I'm like, well, you can't figure it out. Well, of course they can, but it's a lot easier for me just to write up a quote and send it all. So, and I don't mind doing that either. So you just tell them that. So you basically, you want to make sure you specify that one gig for the $5 is 50 words. I in here say, and I really honestly, as I was looking at this just now before I did this, I don't know why this is in here. This should be in it's part of my my profile description, but it doesn't need to be here. And we're going to look at profile description shortly. But I did. I put that thing about in the accolades, and this is like a little sales job. So I really don't even need, I wouldn't put this in here now, this whole thing about like credibility at this point. That should be on my page. Now, having said that, this has been in here and I have gotten jobs. So, I'm going to make it a choice to take that out and see what happens. But if you do have credibility things and you'd like to put them in, when it comes right down to it, you can put whatever in there you want outside of these absolute essentials that I'm suggesting to cover yourself. And then with whatever space you have left, put in whatever you want, accolades, credits, some personality, whatever you want to do, but make sure that core gig description stuff is in there. Like, don't waste those words. And it also says, we'll provide in a high quality MP3 format. In my revision over here, I've added other formats available as a gig extra. Okay. All right. So I ended up going into detail there, so I won't have to do it again later, but I will show you what I've changed in my revision. And look, by the way, you can bold and, do some basic stuff in here, which I've never done before. So you can choose to do all of that. I'm just showing you what I have done. Okay, so now you just go through and you're going to click each of these little tabs here, and it's very, very obvious. Click your gender. If you don't know, Google it. Purpose. So then you've got all these different choices, and you want to, choose what's relevant to this particular gig. So you may want to do several of these things, but this gig may be set for just, for example, voiceover. Like you'll notice I did not check phone system and IVR here, but it is checked on my other gig, which is about phone system and IVR. Okay, so this is all around helping you get found from specific searches. So you want to be very, you want to choose wisely here. Language. What is your narration language? Mine happens to be English. They have others here, a whole list. And if you can do it in another language, then I would say to just do another gig for that language. And also that's great if you can. Accents, same thing here. What kind of dialects are you good at? You'll notice I have only got English American and English Southern American, even though, I could dabble in some of these, but I'm not going to, because again, except on this character thing, which this is the gig I'm going to create together, is one that I've been talking about doing for myself for a while. So this project has forced me to start writing a description for it, and I've got all kinds of ideas that I'll share with you. Anyway, in any case, I'm not putting all I did is easy peasy stuff. So if you're from the UK, obviously English, British, right, or whatever you want to put in here. Age range again. Select your age. So for this gig, I'm being an adult. If I had the ability to make a little kid's voice, I wouldn't check that here. I'd check it in a gig where I say I'll be a little kid, right? This is all super easy peasy and obvious, I know, but this is a learning module. I'm covering all my bases. Also delivering, and here are some of the extras that you can add. So for my main voiceover gig, I have chosen to offer adding background music. If you don't have the ability to do that, then don't offer it, and it's fine. I don't get that many of those. And when I do, quite frankly, I go, ugh, these. Even though I charge more for it, it's still just a whole other layer of work to do, to add the music. But I'm going to show you how to do it as part of your training here. But you can decide whether or not it's something that you want to take on. deal packages, multiple versions, WAV files, MP3 files, OGG, whatever they want, depending on what your software has the ability to save out as. And Audacity, you have lots and lots of choices. So you can offer that as an extra, and you should. Proofreading. If you want to proofread their scripts, you can offer that as a gig extra. Not in a million years would I do that. Script writing, same thing. For Fiverr, I would never take the time to write someone's script for them, get approval, go back and forth. That whole idea makes my head hurt. Sound effects, again, if you like throwing sound effects around and you have access to a sound effects library that you can, and this goes for the music too. If you're going to add music, you have to make sure that the music that is used is you have the rights to it, or the people who paid you have the rights to it, and they need to provide that information, okay, so that you're covered, because that's a big deal, copyright stuff. And so what I've done is I have there's a service called Audio Blocks, and when you subscribe, basically for $100 a year, you have access to everything in their audio library, and you can use it as parts of your background. So what I do is when and we'll get into this at another time when I start showing you my quick custom pop-ups and stuff in the messaging system. But I send them to Audio Blocks because I have an account. I can use anything they choose. I tell them, choose anything. If you don't, I say, you've got to own the music. If you don't, you can go over to audioblocks.com, choose anything there you like. Let me know the name of it. And that's it. And it's an extra $10 in my case to add music to it. So that's an option that you can choose to do as a value add. So it's an investment, $100 a year, to have access to that. But then you have the ability to add music to all of these people and add that as a gig extra. And if you don't have a problem with choosing the music yourself, because I make them go do it, because again, it's subjective. And so if I have a music choice, download it, mix it, do the volumes, and then they go, I want something a little more fill in the blank, you've wasted a lot of time. So you just make sure you put it all in their hands. I think you see where I'm going. It's a general theme throughout this whole thing. And then there's tags. So, this is more or less a narration thing. On my character thing, I would say character voice or something like that. But narration, voiceover, male voiceover, voice talent, voice acting. And I will admit, I haven't gone through and changed these out and tested these and all these other, over and over. These are just logical to me. There may be better choices, but this is what I'm offering, and I'm going to change one of them to. Oh no, I already did. I changed one. One of them said voice talent. I changed it to voice acting. So once again, I sort of tweaked it a little bit here. So that is just the first page. Shall we take a breath? Let's do. All right. Now we're going to go to pricing. All right, so now they've added these packages. I have not used packages, and I'll tell you why and why I'm not going to go over them here, and you can learn all about packages if you'd like to. For some offerings, I think packages are great. Like, for example, if you do logos, and some of the extras that are commonly offered with logos, they'll offer for $5 like the basic logo ID and a small resolution image. Now, if you want the full resolution and you want the source files and all of those other things, those would be added as extras. Now what they're doing is creating packages that sort of have some of these extras already built in. So in theory, you could create a package, a voiceover music package or whatever, okay, that's all about, I will do your voiceover up to however many minutes and add music and all of that. I just think you're treading into dangerous territory with how the job could grow when you start doing that. Keeping one job for voiceover anyway, with the extras and the custom offers and stuff like that to define it and create your prices and price variety, I think is way, way easier than doing something like packages, because number of revisions or things you could do, like, okay, well, I'll give you 5 revisions. If they buy 5 revisions, they're probably going to ask for 5 revisions. And then you're just working extra. I'm just not a fan of it for voiceover. I just don't think it's, the packages would just be confusing. If one of you one day explores packages and go, dude, I'm totally tripling my income because I'm using packages and here's how I'm doing it on voiceover, I will interview you personally and include you as a module in this program. Okay. But for right now, for me, I just kept the one package. So I set up just the basic single package here, and I'll go through this quickly here. My standard package, $5, meaning $5 for the 50 words, as I describe in my description. This is just a 3-word description of what it is, smooth male voiceover, and then the basic idea, I will read your script for $5 for every 50 words, 3 days delivery. You just choose all this from a drop-down list. I don't select any revisions. I just leave that alone. I'm not going to suggest any. 50 words are included. That's selected there. Now, these right here, separate files, HQ file, video sync, background music, all of this stuff, it would be checked if you were creating a package that included these, and I'm not doing that. They can purchase these as gig extras, but they're not included, so I'm not checking them here. I hope that's clear. You checked them in the other screen, that they would be gig extras, okay? So, not here. And now down here is where the gig extras you checked appear, and you can adjust the parameters of each one. So we had checked extra fast delivery, commercial use, I'm sorry, you only checked that here. We had checked these down here. I'll deliver, I don't know what we checked. I can't remember, but here, it doesn't matter. You'll see this. This is where you add your gig extras, okay? And we're going to go through this whole thing, so it doesn't really matter what I remember. In the gig extras, I definitely include extra fast delivery. That is an easy way to make extra money for your gigs if you actually have the ability to turn around a gig in 24 hours. Me, I'm sitting here most of the day. I can totally do it. I generally can turn around something in, a few hours, certainly same day, almost all of the time. But to guarantee it, I offer the extra fast delivery. And for me, the standard is 1 day for an extra $10, but I could take it all the way up to $100 if I wanted to. And I have been recently, if they want it the same day, not like 24 hours, but like by the end of the business day, writing a custom order and saying, depending on my workload, I'll say, but that's going to be $15 or $20 today because I've got to move you to the top of the list and all, and they gladly pay it. So just remember to don't be shy about asking for what you need for this type of thing. Commercial use is like the most unbelievably cool blessing add-on that Fiverr has done for us voiceover people that since I've been there for sure. Commercial use basically is an option that they can choose if they're going to use their if they're going to use their audio for commercial purposes, which basically means you're giving them the right to use it. So you can't come in later if you hear yourself on the Super Bowl, and they bought this for commercial use, you can't go after them for any sort of, royalties or whatever. Generally speaking, you're not going to end up on the Super Bowl commercials, but maybe one day. Who knows? Maybe your first job. Who am I to say? You may have the perfect voice. So you'd want to get that commercial use, and you might want to make it $100 or whatever. Or, the point is you have a default custom value, and it's interesting because when they first added this feature, I got an email that said, and based on your sales, I'd say we'd recommend charging an extra $20. So I just did it. You can charge whatever you want to for commercial use. Okay, so now here's where I put in my extras here. I will deliver, and I'll be honest with you. I like HQ file would be sort of the similar thing to Wave format. I created all of these gig extras before they had it formatted this way. They just kind of brought this over. So I think you could probably, if I clicked HQ file, that implies Wave file, I could add for an extra $5, and then I could remove this old one. But I like being able to write it all out. So, like, I wouldn't, if it just showed up as script proofreading for an extra whatever, now I'd want to say proof whatever. I'd want more detail. So I like having this line, okay? So I have chosen to deliver in the Wave format rather than or in addition to an MP3. So if they ask for a Wave file, it's $5 for that, and I don't add any additional days to it, okay? Because you can choose that here. I will mix your voice with one piece of background music or sound effects you provide, just like we just talked about, for an extra $10, and I don't add any days for that either. You could. Just depends on how fast you can turn it around. And then I will accept your generous tip. I think that the tipping is now automatic. It's automatically presented at the end of an order. Again, this was here from before, but I've had people order this on the front end they're still doing that. So why not? Why not put it there? It's just basically asking for, would you mind paying me just a little bit more? And them saying, okay, because all they have to do is not check it. Another one is cut your multiple part audio and deliver it up to, deliver it as up to 3 separate files if needed. So that means that if they need 9 files saved, for every 3, it's a gig. So 3 extra gigs to save out 9 files. And I do that because it takes extra time to do that. And so, again, it's not unreasonable to ask for that. If they send me like a PowerPoint presentation with 18 slides and they want 18 files, that takes a lot more time than just recording the entire 18, doing the editing, saving the 1 file, and sending it. So I charge not for every single one, but for every 3. I made that number up. You could choose your own. Again, I don't add any days to any of these extras at this point. Another one that you will be asked to do a lot: deliver audio that will sync to your video for you to edit for $5 for every 50 words. Now, let's break that down, because once you start getting this kind of job, if you're going to offer it, you want to be careful about this. So basically, when they are going to sync, if they need me to sync audio to an existing video, it's going to double the price of the VO, because I charge 1 gig for every 50 words needing to be synchronized, which is the whole script. So if it's a $15 script that needs synchronization to a video, it's now $30, okay? And sometimes I think that's not enough, because that can be time consuming too. And it's a whole other thing with the synchronizing to video, but I want to address it here because you are asked to do it a lot. Now, you can choose to include this or not, but it is money, and it can really double your rate if you've got the ability to do it. Now, to do that, you have to have some proficiency with some sort of video editor. On Windows, I use Sony Vegas. You might have Final Cut Pro or something like that on or iMovie. Maybe, I don't know what you can do with iMovie on the Mac. I'm not a Mac person, and we aren't going to get into that level of training. But if you know how to, I will probably do a demo video of me synchronizing to a video so you can get the concept of it. But we won't be going into in-depth tutorials of various video editing software for it. You would have to learn to do that yourself, but I can show you, how to approach it. The point is that you want to be clear with them that, to sync to video, they need, and this would be something that we'll talk about again later, but they need to make it very clear where your voice needs to go in the video. The very best way for them to deliver, which I always encourage, is a video with a scratch track on it, with somebody else on their end who has read it at the pace they want it read. Then you can match that pace and adjust with editing as you go. It doesn't have to be, you're never going to read it word for word, syllable for syllable, second by second like what's there, but you can keep a general pace and then edit. So it's more of an advanced thing for people who are comfortable with editing or are willing to put in the time to learn how to edit more. And learning basic stuff like lining up audio with waveforms and videos and things like that. So it's more advanced, but if you know how to do it and can turn it around quickly, and in my workflow I pretty much can, it can be worth it. But I do need to raise my rates because it does take, Okay, so then we've got delivered or rendered. Okay, let me finish up that other point. For you to edit, so I line up the audio. With this gig extra, I line up the audio and I render it out, basically meaning that I give it to them in a version that is timed out exactly like they want, but I just send them the audio file. It's up to them now to take that audio file and combine it with their video file on their end. Okay, I'm not going to render the video on my end and deliver a video to them. They sent me a video as a reference. It may have had music on it, the scratch track, whatever. It may have been in a low resolution, whatever I needed just to be able to line it up for time. But in this gig extra, I'm not creating the actual video, just the audio that they'll combine. In this next one here, though, I am creating the video. So they'll have now, not from scratch. All I'm doing is taking their finished video and just basically combining the audio I record with it. I'm not doing any video creation, no creative, no none of that. I'm just taking what they've sent me, which is final and in its highest resolution that they've got, and then rendering it out with my audio on it. And then I charge $20 just for that. Now, from my point of view, it's an easy $20 because to line up everything, to get the audio file created, everything's all lined up on the timeline already. All I need to do now is just, like, I've rendered out the audio. Now all I have to do is click the button and save it out as a video instead, and it's there. And that's an extra $20. There's no extra work at that time because you've already done it all, provided that you've got the video in the final form. Hope that wasn't too confusing. But those are the extras that I offer with my basic voiceover gig. Let's breathe again before we go on to the next section, shall we? Oh, wait a minute. I screwed that up when I was showing. Now then, I had to save that again. And now requirements. All right. Now this is so important. They give you, I'm not sure how many they give you. Like, I have 3 here, and I know that you can add them. I can't remember what the default is. I guess maybe that'll show up as I go through and create this next gig. But here's what I've got. And these, I would include these same ones in my next gig anyway. And I would do it all in one, except that they have a word limit. So I wanted to get all these in here. What this means is that they have to type something into each of these boxes, even if it's like NA or / or something, before the gig will submit. It's kind of a hassle, but at the same time, it assures that it's kind of like them signing off that they have read each of these, you see. And I've never had anybody write to me and complain about that. It's just, it is what it is. So this first one, a lot of these just reiterate what I said in the gig description, but now this is the requirement, so I get a little bit more direct. Send the script exactly as you want it read, as a text, doc, or PDF. If there are words with questionable pronunciation, phonetically spell out the words so there will be no mistake in the read. Script must be proofread. This means that what you send me is what will be read. Changes due to script error will require a new gig, so please be sure of what you send. Okay, again, just super clarity on the proofreading. Okay, so then that's where they generally attach the script. Then the next one is pronunciations are crucial. Even though I say that up here, I say it again here, because once you start getting a bunch of these scripts that don't give you pronunciation, you will realize the importance of this second one here. Pronunciations are crucial, especially with 24-hour jobs, because these guys will drop off their script, which is poorly written or has no pronunciation guides, say, I need it in 24 hours, and then they're off to bed or whatever, and you can't get any of your questions answered, and therefore you can't deliver the job in 24 hours. So I say pronunciations are crucial, especially with 24-hour jobs. If there are any words, names, company names, etc., that you absolutely have to have read correctly, and then I had all of them, obviously, which I have taken out in my revision over here, then please be sure to send phonetic pronunciations of all these words, or the job will be delayed. Clear. If you order 24-hour service, please be available via messaging for any questions, or the order could be delayed. So again, I just tell them what my expectations of them are. Like, this is your end of the bargain, okay? And then they sign off on that, basically by typing NA or whatever. What kills me is when they type off NA or whatever, when the script is filled with words with clearly difficult pronunciations and things like that, or initials or acronyms, and then, like, this is the last one. If your script uses initials or acronyms, you must tell me whether you want the letters read as initials or as some kind of word. I think you see what I mean there, like IT or IT, right? And how you want that word pronounced. Not providing these details at the time of order will delay delivery, because I will always ask for clarification, which I should, and so should you as a professional in this industry. So that's had my bases covered pretty well. Sometimes they slip through the cracks anyway, but those are the ones that I've chosen. I would highly recommend you add at least those, and you can keep adding more depending on your experience and what your needs are to fit your particular situation. Now let's go to the gallery. Now, I haven't added any new pictures to this since I started my profile. In fact, when I first started on Fiverr, no, this was an older picture. I did look like this. Irrelevant information. Anyway, here you can add 3 pictures. I just chose a picture of me doing different faces or whatever, and then this picture of me talking into a microphone. I do recommend having a picture of yourself, a nice picture of yourself, if it is professional and friendly, and it makes a good impression. If all you've got something that you took on your couch with your phone or something and it doesn't, don't do it. You're a professional here. So, but I would recommend having something up there in this gallery. They want to see pictures. They just want something in there. So find something. But I would recommend something with your picture on it. And if you can do something like with a microphone or something that connects you with this service that you're offering, that's great. Because what I'm going to do for this character one that I'm working on is I'm going to create some pictures that I probably do weird stuff in Photoshop with, to sort of portray each of these different characters that I'm going to give voice to as part of this gig. So that's my creative way of using that, and give them a face to put with the voice. And then the video. We're going to do a totally different video on the video, but I don't know. I'm going to see if I can play it here.
This is Mary. She needs a voiceover for an online video like the one you're watching now, and wants a deep male voice who can present in a friendly, confident, and professional tone.
This is Phil. He needs something that
Okay,
sounds
I don't know
big,
if you're
powerful and epic.
hearing it double or not, which can be annoying, so I'm going to stop. But basically, so what I've chosen to do with this particular video is have an animation portray the voice that I'm using, right? So before, my very first gig video was just me talking into a microphone real close up. You couldn't even see my eyes. It was just my voice. And I was just basically saying, hi, for $5, 200 words, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I had some generic script about the voiceover service I would provide. I think this approach is way better because you're giving examples of exactly how you would deliver. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people put together examples of other work that they've done to create a demo that way. That's totally great. But if you're just starting out, you don't have that, do you? So you could create one, but that can be hit or miss. And in terms of like fake spots, things like that you've already allegedly done. If you have done some, great, include them. That's fine. If they really portray what you're describing in that gig video or gig description or whatever, that particular gig, then you can definitely include them. Otherwise, I just created a whole new recording that allowed me to showcase the different styles of voice I have. And you can go back and look at my, gig page and watch that video to see what I did. I did a very similar thing for my my phone message system one. It's an animated video, and I'm basically demonstrating. I'm using the type of voice on that spot to illustrate how I would do my voice recording for a phone system. Check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. A point of trivia here. These videos, again, this is why we'll have a whole different thing on videos and how you get your video done and whether you do it yourself or whatever. This animated video on this page that I'm describing now was done by a company called WizMotions at wizmotions.com. They're one of my regular voiceover clients, and that's how we know each other. So after doing work for them for about a year or maybe more, I knew I wanted to do a different video than that one of me just talking into the microphone. And I said, hey, I've done so much of this stuff for you. I know we know each other. Would you like to do my video? So I conceptualized the whole thing. I wrote the script, and I said, in fact, I recorded. I did the voiceover part, and I said, here it is. If you can, I just gave them basic direction, and then they came back with this. And it's been very effective, and people have asked me about it all the time, and I'm sending people to WizMotions all the time. On my other gig, I did that video with a program called Easy Sketch Pro. I've talked about it in some of the calls, and I'll provide a link to it with this video. And that's a piece of software that you can use on your computer to create these animated videos yourself. There is a learning curve, but if you're into that kind of thing, it's not hard. It's just you just learn the process. And if you're a creative person and would like to do that and create your own videos, that's fantastic. And I mean, if some people really love doing these things because it is fun to watch your ideas be drawn and all that other stuff, and it be so easy because it really is super easy. So you could learn to make your own. And if you really like it, there's a gig for you on Fiverr right there, making people's animated videos, because I get asked about who makes mine all the time. And I could say, well, I did mine, but I don't want to do them on Fiverr because that's just not my passion. So that's it for that. And then you can also add PDF files. If you have, I don't know, a write-up on yourself that you might want them to read, something that you did related to your gig that would give you credibility. I clearly don't have anything here. I haven't chosen to add anything like that. But that's it. So you do that, and that is the setup of your gig. Let's talk about the gig profile real quick, because there's only a couple of things here. Let me click on edit. So all I did was go to my profile and then click on edit. And now if I want to change my description here, I just click this and I can type. You don't have a lot of space here, so this is where I really put more of my credibility, my professional credibility. If you don't have, obviously, experience in voiceover, you want to come up with something, I have a passion for voiceover, I don't, whatever it is, but you want to make yourself be professional sounding. It's, regardless of how inexperienced you are, you can word these things, not without lying, to communicate professionalism. But if you don't word it, like if you word it to like, oh, I just love this, I'm trying it, well, you want them to just feel like they're dealing with a professional across the board from beginning to end, with no sense that you're just getting started or any of that stuff. Okay, so you want to write this. So in my case, I've been doing professional voiceover since 1985. I have a 100% positive rating here with a fast turnaround. Clearly, I couldn't write that on my first day. Listen to the mini demos I have here, read the reviews, and let's work together. So clearly, I put this on after I had all of these things. I think when I originally started, it was along the lines of, I've been doing professional voiceover since 1985, and then probably described my read. I have a highly polished, whatever it is, whatever I might have put, just so that they know exactly what they're getting into by reading that description. I may actually go back to that. As I look at this again now, they're going to listen to the demos anyway, but I might want to point them to the reviews, because when you do have a lot of good reviews, showing that, because that, showing that's a good thing to do. But anyway, all of this other stuff, you did somewhere else. You can change your photo here by just clicking here. You can also change this line up here. Yeah, whoops. Well, I didn't really mean to do it by just clicking on it. So this is like your subtitle right under your username. So you can also click on that. So that's what you can change with your profile. This right here, your image right here, and the description right here. Now there's all these other little processes that you want to go through, as this is part of getting signed up with Fiverr, and not so much setting up your gig, but getting email verified, Google verified. All of this stuff is a Fiverr issue, and you'll be walked through that by Fiverr, just sort of as part of the process. So that's nothing we're going to do here. So just remember also that your gigs and your gig descriptions show up right here on your main gig page, so that when you send people here, your gig descriptions, you want to be descriptive, right? So they really are clear on what you're doing. All right. And when I add my other gig, it's going to be here. So I'm going to, as I've realized that this has turned into a very long video, I'm going to break it here and create the gig in another video completely. Okay, so this will be the general overview for gig description and requirements and profile, and then I'll have the next video will be setting up your profile, or setting up a new gig. Okay? All right. Well, I hope this was helpful to you, and if there's any comments or questions, I'm sure there's a place around here somewhere to post them.